So hello, I want to thank everyone for joining. My name is Steve Zabo. I'm responsible for business development for WIN-911 software within the EMEA and APAC regions. Today's webinar, we're going to introduce WIN-911 alarm notification software with a focus on how this complements EcoStruxure's water, wastewater, CPG segments. So taking a quick look at the agenda today, we're going to cover the company background, value proposition, features, then bring it all together with some customer success stories. I guess just to make sure everyone's able to see my screen, if there's any problems, you can put a message in the chat or in the questions. But towards the end of this, we'll have some time to answer questions. So if anything comes up between now and then, please feel free within the control panel there to enter any questions that you may have, and then we'll get to those before the presentation finishes. So WIN-911 is alarm notification software solution. This is going to ensure the right alarm is sent to the right person at the right time on the right device. And so by the end of this presentation, you should have a high level understanding of how we can achieve this. So WIN-911 is the industry leading alarm notification platform for industry and IoT. We've been doing this for a while. The first version of WIN-911 was introduced 27 years ago in Windows 3.1. We're deployed in over 17,000 facilities across the globe, over 80 countries. We have offices in North America, which we're headquartered in Austin, Texas, office in Europe, as well as office in Asia. We've got partnerships with a lot of the leading industry-leading automation companies. Specifically, we are a master technology partner with Schneider Electric. We're also a certified product partner with Wonderware. So WIN-911 can be found across all market segments, whether that's discrete, process, hybrid, infrastructure. Today, we're going to focus on success stories in the water, wastewater, and CPG markets, but just understand that WIN-911 is not limited to those verticals. So some value proposition with the WIN-911 product. We like to think we empower the people that run the world's infrastructure. And there's a number of ways we're able to do that. Implementing an alarm notification solution can help reduce downtime, operating costs, optimize your personnel productivity. Even if you're running a plant where you've always got personnel there 24/7, our software can help let those personnel actually focus on other tasks when they know our software is going to alarm them if there's any issues. We can help you make informed decisions quicker by providing you the most detail about an alarm condition so that you can act on it appropriately. We can also obviously help enable the remote workforce. So that's maybe more importance now than ever. People finding ways to ensure their processes, plants, facilities continue to run with a limited workforce, or at some points with majority of their employees working from home or remotely. So our software also provides off-the-shelf integration. It's very flexible, intuitive. So, we've got to have the flexibility to provide basically meet the needs of the customer, but also we've got to keep in mind the day-to-day use. It needs to be intuitive. And so we feel like we're able to achieve both of those with the software solution. And then, as I mentioned, we've been doing this for over 25 years, trusted software provider around the world. We've got a network of distributors and system integrators around the globe who are very familiar with our product. And so this is also a big requirement, whether it be from the project specification stages down to the customer actually using the software. So that's it on the background. Let's jump into the product itself. So what I'm going to do, you've seen this graphic before, we're going to break down our product into 3 sections. This is the way I like to introduce it. So first, Since we are focused on delivering alarms, particularly out of a SCADA or control system, we're going to talk a little bit about how WIN-911 connects into your existing control software. Then we'll move on to kind of the brains of the operation, how we can do the routing, who's getting called, in what order, who needs to know about what alarm. And then finally, we'll talk about the different notification methods that we offer. So let's start with the data source side. So we've got a couple of ways of connecting into your existing SCADA system. And so we'll first focus on what we call our seamless integration or a direct connect into specifically the Wonderware suite. So Wonderware system platform, Wonderware InTouch, and InTouch Edge HMI. What this means is we actually are able to use a native connection provided by Wonderware that allows us to subscribe directly into the alarm database. So what are the advantages of this? We're not going to ask you to duplicate your alarm details in our software. You still maintain and manage your alarms, alarm set points, alarm descriptions within your SCADA system. And so what we're able to do is with a subscription, you set up a filter to determine what alarms actually need to make it into our software for remote alarm delivery. And so this allows for information to be dynamic. If you were to change an alarm set point in your SCADA, there's nothing you need to do on our end to sync it up. It just automatically, when the alarm happens within, let's say, InTouch, it's pushed to us. It's pushed to us with whatever alarm message at that time is defined. So again, if you were to change an alarm description, there's nothing you need to do on our end. And so it really provides a seamless, almost same product feel when using our direct connections. Acknowledgements are also seamless. So if you were to acknowledge within the HMI screen in the control room, WIN-911 will see that. And vice versa, if you receive the alarm on as a text message and send an acknowledgement back, that will push all the way back into your control system, so someone in the control room would actually see this. So there's a few of our direct connects on the Wonderware suite side of things. So we do have other ways of connecting into SCADA applications, or in some cases you don't necessarily need a SCADA. And the way we do that is we are an OPC DA client. So any OPC DA server we should be able to connect to. For all of our customers using SciTech or ClearSCADA, GeoSCADA Expert, I guess now, are using an OPC connection. And so this allows for the WIN-911 software to be installed anywhere on the network. We connect into an OPC server. We can import the OPC items. And in this scenario, we're actually generating or creating an alarm in the WIN-911 product to do the notifications on. And so because of that, we give you easy ways to do mass alarm creations and assign these call out groups all at the time of import. So we're not asking you to go by, one by one to set this up. So there's a couple examples on the data source side. So after that, we've now decided what SCADA systems we're connecting into, what alarms WIN-911 needs to be processing, and now we need to talk about what do we do with the alarm once we have it. So we provide a number of tools that allow you to do the escalation or routing of alarms. On the left here is a screenshot of just a basic call out list that we allow you to set up. You can set up as many of these as you want. This is going to help you group who's getting notified, how they're getting notified, in what order they're getting notified. We can also offer a more advanced option, which you see here on the right, which is again, a screenshot from our software, which provides a drag and drop workflow that can do real-time decision making. So to kind of run through this example we have here, as an alarm comes in and triggers this advanced call out list or advanced workflow, we can then make a decision on whether that specific alarm is wearing an alarm label in our case. And if it is, we would move to the right, and we're making another decision here on its severity. So if the alarm is over 750, We then move to the right, and we're going to notify a group of people wearing this water treatment plant operator's role. And we're also going to notify all people in our phone book that have a manager's role. If it was less than 7:50, we would have moved out to the left here. We would have had a 10-minute delay. And then if the alarm was still active after that 10 minutes, we would just notify the operators. So those are two different ways of setting up the escalation or call routing for the alarms. We also take into consideration scheduling. So you can build out as many schedules as you need, your shift changes, and these schedules actually get tied down to the notification level. So it's not so much that Steve has a schedule, it's more so my phone that's getting called has a specific schedule assigned to it. If I'm also receiving emails, I could have a different schedule for that. And so here's an example there. If I only want to get a call on my phone or on my smartphone app when I'm on duty, I would tie my usual shift schedule to that. But maybe for emails, since those don't bother me, they're good for record keeping, maybe I assign like a 24/7 schedule for the emails. That way I receive all the emails. Again, these schedules can be built out as many as you need. We can do things like a floating holidays, and it's a calendar that you're used to seeing maybe within Outlook or Google for setting up an appointment. On the right, you see a management tool that we provide. This is one example of some of the tools we offer. And this is what we call our contacts utility. And this allows for your day-to-day operations to maybe make adjustments to the call lists, who's in the group this week, schedules, the roles or those groupings that we talked about in the advanced workflow. And so this can be launched directly from an HMI screen. And this is geared towards, once the system's been set up, you can build your schedules out, but you're going to have instances where someone's sick or on holiday, you're going to be making adjustments. And so this provides a simple, straightforward tool that keeps the operators within the HMI to make those adjustments without having to go into our full-blown configuration. So there's a couple examples and descriptions on how we can set up the routing, the scheduling once we receive those alarms. And then finally, we can talk about notification methods. So again, we're going through a high level overview here because I really want to focus mostly on our customer success stories. But all of this information and a lot more detail can be found on the Schneider Electric Exchange platform on the WIN-911 page. And we've got a lot more details, other case studies and so forth. So I encourage you to check that out. So now we'll sit on this screen for a minute and walk through our different notification methods. So what you have moving left to right is our smartphone app, which is called WIN-911 Mobile. We have our SMS text messages. We can do voice calls where we verbalize an alarm message, emails, and then we can provide a plant annunciation or alarm annunciation through your computer speakers. So let's break each one of these down. We'll start with the mobile app. This is a true mobile app. It's not opening a web page. It's an app that's going to run on your iOS and Android devices. This is both phones, tablets. It's going to receive push notifications to alert you. It's utilizing Azure's Active Directory for I should say Microsoft Active Directory for authentication and Azure AD for the web services to bring the communication together. Very secure method. It's using an internet connection. However, it is all outbound initiated. So there's no requirements to open ports up for phones to connect back into the system. There's very secure ways of setting this up. You can utilize your DMZ with some of the tools that we've provided. We've got a lot of information regarding the mobile app on the Exchange platform, videos, so I encourage you to take a look there. So we'll move over to SMS text messaging now. So with an SMS text message, this is going to require a cellular modem. this will be a modem that you'd have plugged in somewhere on the network. It would have a SIM card installed that can do SMS text messaging. And so this is a true SMS message out to your phone. When you receive the alarm details, you have the ability to acknowledge the alarm. I should state that all of these notification methods, with the exception of the announcer, provide two-way interaction capabilities. And so this means you can acknowledge alarms remotely, you can do alarm requests, you can even get real-time process values through report requests. So with the mobile app, I'd say the usability is, a one-click to acknowledge, a one-click to request your active alarms. The functionality is there with your text messaging. It may require a little bit more typing, but you've got all of that there. So the screenshot, it's a bit small, but it's showing an example of the user sending back an acknowledgement for a specific alarm with a comment, and then the confirmation is actually sent back to you. Once that alarm has been acknowledged in the SCADA, we will send the message back saying it's acknowledged. You can see who acknowledged the alarm. You see my comment there as well. What is also nice, if this text message were to be sent out to 10 people, the other 9 recipients would also receive the acknowledgement message and see that I acknowledged it, and if I put a comment in there, they would see that as well. Again, this is going to hold true through all of our notification methods. The SMS is very secure in the fact that there's no internet connection even required. Your SIM card does not need a data plan. It does not need any voice functionality, so only text messaging. So we'll now move on to voice. So voice calls, WIN-911 is going to utilize a VoIP connection. So we can connect to any voice over IP PBX, internal PBX, or any VoIP service provider that provides a SIP server, SIP. So we are a SIP client, and we're able to connect in, take alarm messages in from the SCADA system, and then use a text-to-speech engine to verbalize the alarm messages. One thing is that no matter what the language is of the alarm that's being sent to us, your operating system, if it's in the same language, has a text-to-speech engine that can verbalize it. Or we do provide premium voice packages that can also help provide the voice enunciation as needed. So all of our notification methods can present alarms in any language. It's supporting Unicode, so there's no problem there. Our software is also fully localized in 9 languages. And then we go into email. So we connect into an SMTP mail server. We're going to send mail out, whether that's plain text, or we can do an HTML type email, as you can see in the example. The HTML really gives you a lot of flexibility. You could embed your company logo in there or any other information that's required. We use an XSL editor to build these out, so that's been opened up to developers if needed. All of the formats that you see here on our notifications are also configurable. So at the mobile app level, it's pretty neat in the fact that each person can define what properties of the alarm they see on an individual basis. The rest of the notifiers, this will be done through our configuration. You can build as many formats out as needed. And then you can really determine, do I need all of this information or just the description? This is all open for you to decide. Again, email will take in, you can email back and acknowledge an alarm or ask for specific alarms if needed. And then finally, the announcer. So this is an application that's going to fill a few needs. So one requirement is we've got a number of computers around the plant that we would like to hear the alarm enunciation over those speakers. This is a network program that you can install on as many machines around the plant to hear those alarms. We've got a lot of nice features, building out the formats, converting strings that may not sound great over a text-to-speech engine, but you know, they're obviously defined in the SCADA because they've got enough information when looking at it visibly. So a lot of tools there. The other use case for the plant announcer is we would hook up to a voice activated relay and we would be able to play or enunciate these alarms over your plant speakers. So a quick run through our different notification methods. Again, a lot more information on the Exchange portal. So let's get into some customer success stories. So the first one we'll talk about is the water wastewater segment. I think I've got 3 case studies that we're going to go through today. The first one we'll start with is the city of Llano, Texas. This is a city just north of Austin, just on the outskirts where we're headquartered. And in this specific example, they already had Wonderware InTouch installed, but they were looking to meet some challenges, specifically when it comes to response times, in the fact of it will both when people are in the plant or after hours. And so the problem was they were just getting a generic message that there was an alarm and there wasn't much detail. And so the response times were much slower because they had to get back to the system to kind of understand what the problem was before they could assess it and then make a plan to get it solved. So what we were able to do is they implemented WIN-911. They're utilizing our SMS text messaging, email, and voice calls over analog phone lines. They're using a VoIP to analog converter to make that happen. And so what we're able to do once we got installed, we tie directly into their InTouch alarm database. They select the alarms that we need to notify, which some of the equipment we're monitoring is like electrical power, tank levels, flow rates, pressure, chemical feed rates. They're able to now push out the details within a matter of seconds. They get all of the details necessary to make the decisions to get the proper personnel over there to fix the problem and where it's located. So they reduced their alarm response time by 75%. They were slashed their overtime costs, and it really helped them optimize as a small city staff, be a lot more efficient. Moving on to another water plant on the other side of the world. This is a Macao water supply in Macao, China. So they also already had a SCADA solution in place. So they're using a system platform. This is a much larger application than the first example I provided. And some of their requirements, they were needing alarm notification, more advanced alarm notification than just a simple email blast, let's say, that system platform can provide. They needed off-the-shelf integration. It needed to be with a trusted software provider. Another big requirement was a smartphone app support, and they wanted to make sure they could notify individuals as well as a group. And so our distributor there in the region was able to provide them with the WIN-911 solution. It met all of their requirements. So they were really looking for a software product that could help and enhance their sophisticated control system within their water and wastewater treatment facilities. So some of the equipment we were monitoring there were flow brake lines, water pumps, chlorine levels, inlet power failures, air compressors. And so they've got actually 3 notification methods implemented here. They're using our smartphone apps, they're using text messaging, and they're using emails. And they are able to get all of the key details of the data delivered to those right devices immediately upon an alarm condition. And so for our last example on the water wastewater side, this is in the city of Bellvue, Washington, just outside of Seattle. So in this example, the customer also was running a Wonderware InTouch application at the point of needing a better way to do alarm notification. Their current process was for both the water and wastewater departments, they used a paging system as well as an auto dialer, and that connected to an answering service for after hours. And this was really inefficient, and they were also looking to decrease the response time. They wanted to have a faster response time, especially on the after hours and weekends. And they actually set a goal to where they needed maintenance crews alerted within 2 minutes. And so they implemented the WIN-911 software. We tied directly into their InTouch alarm database, and they are just using SMS text messaging. But they were able to replace that auto dialer, paging system, and answering service with a single software solution. And now they have a much faster response time. If you want an example of what we're monitoring here, so it's the water, sewer, stormwater system spread across 37 square miles. It includes 24 reservoirs, 22 pump stations, 145 active pressure reducing valve stations, and over 600 miles of pipe is this full system. WIN-911 is monitoring 70 inlet stations. And what we're able to do now is when there is a problem, they know exactly what inlet station is having the issue, what the problem is, and they're able to get someone on it immediately. Okay, so now let's switch over into the CPG segment. We got 2 case studies here to go through, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Again, if any questions arise, please feel free to drop those into the control panel under the questions section, or you can chat them to me. So the first example we'll use, this is a dairy processing plant in Southland, New Zealand. So what they're looking for here, they need to maintain optimal temperature consistencies, and they're working, with the staffing and budgeting constraints. So they're not, one thing we all look at in business is, how can we be more efficient? And sometimes, throwing more people at the problem is not the answer. And so they started investigating alarm notification options. In this specific example, they're running Wonderware system platform. And so we were able to, again, seamlessly integrate into that product, and they're using us for text messaging and emails. This helps reduce their downtime, product loss, and specifically their 24/7 alarm monitoring is now more efficient with fewer staff. And another example in Ireland, a large whiskey distillery, they were actually in the process of modernizing their plant. So they had a number of requirements that Wonderware system platform ended up being the main solution there to help kind of modernize this whiskey distillery. And again, they were needing a complete end-to-end solution for alarm notification being part of that. They needed it to be scalable, and they were looking for smartphone capabilities, smartphone interaction capabilities. And so we were able to pair up with the system platform that was being implemented. Again, a big piece of this was the scalability. So with our software, we don't license it by the number of tags we're monitoring or the number of people. It's more down to the lines of the functionality you need for notifications. And so with this, they're using the smartphone apps and text messages. They were able to implement this into one part of their plant with the plan of bringing this out into other areas. And so, our software fit the bill because they can still use the same software without any additional costs on the WIN-911 side to then roll it out into different areas. So this, again, most times there's employees there when everything's running, but they wanted the operators to focus on higher value tasks, and they wanted to make sure that if there are any issues, the right people are notified at the right time and as fast as possible, which we're able to provide, again, with all of the alarm details, and then they're able to acknowledge from their device, put in information, and keeps everyone in the loop as they're moving around the facility. So a couple of the some of the equipment that we're monitoring, like temperature sensors, pneumatic valves, pressure sensors, and water flow. So that's another great example. So I wanted to try and keep that under 30 minutes to answer any questions you may have. I'm looking in here, I don't see any questions yet, so maybe that means I did a great job on the presentation. Or if not, if nothing's coming to mind at this point, I'll give you guys a few minutes to enter any questions if you need to. If not to keep you waiting much longer, got a couple call to action. So the first one, all of our software can be downloaded. It's fully functional in a demo period for 30 days. You can get it on the Schneider Electric Exchange platform. I encourage you to get it downloaded. We can get that hooked up into your existing control systems. You can do something like an email or use our smartphone apps without the requirement of purchasing anything or even any hardware. So it's a great way to get a feel and evaluate the product. And then the second call to action, which may be even easier, if you open up the App Store, Google Play, you can download our mobile app. Once you open the app up, there's going to be a login screen or use the demo. The demo will connect you into a live demo server that's actually receiving alarms. So you'll get alarms pushed to you. You can acknowledge these alarms. It is a real system for demo purposes. If you and your colleagues were to get in, we've got functionality where you can chat with one another, see who's received alarms, who's looked at the alarms, who's in a do not disturb mode. You've really got all of the functionality of the app to get a good understanding of what it can do for you. And it doesn't require you to even set up a WIN-911 system. You run the demo for 15 minutes. If you need, then we basically kick you out. You can go back in if needed, or you can log out at any time. So I encourage you to take a look at the mobile app. You can get that on the Play Store or App Store, and then encourage you to look up the rest of the WIN-911 page on Schneider Exchange, where you can get our downloads and a lot more detail on the product. So I'm not seeing any more. Oh, we've got questions. So the question is, what are the top 3 functionalities you want to mention for the SIs and end users? I think the mobile app has really taken the software to another level. I think interaction-wise, back to the system, the visibility, the team functionality is I think really something on the cutting edge. I encourage everyone to take a look at. I think the other piece that sets our product apart from anyone else out there is the integration that we play within these SCADA systems, our partnerships. We work very closely with the Schneider team, with the Wonderware team, to provide a seamless and smooth connection into the system to prevent, especially to prevent the SIs from having to duplicate duplicate data within our software. I think that's very important. And then, I think the third point is you find our software across a number of segments, not just only in the water, wastewater, and CPG, but once you've got an understanding of our setup, it is very easy to implement it into a number of different applications. So I think it is standardized in a way to where you can get comfortable with the product very quickly. And then I think it can bring loads of value to both the SIs and end users when you know you're going to get critical alarm information at the snap of a finger, and that's only going to help you make your decisions quicker, reduce downtime, save costs, and make sure your plant's running more efficient. Thank you for the question. That was a good one. So I think that's it. We'll go ahead and conclude the presentation. I want to thank everybody for your time on the call today. And again, visit us at Exchange, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Have a wonderful day. Thanks again.